how much of my job is board games? Practically all of it nowadays. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Wolf Pack. Now when you see lighting like this, you know that is actually nighttime. I've actually been recording a lot of my vlogs at night just because we don't get a chance to record stuff, or I don't get a chance to record stuff during the day lately. But tonight's question comes from one of you, and that is, how much of my job is board games? Now, it was going on and off during the whole tariff situation. I don't know where it's going to be at post tariffs, but currently, at the time of this recording, it is like, actually it's about 100% board games right now. So there are only two main things I do. One is the board game side, and two is the wedding side. So here's the thing. When I first started, the term board game photographer or board game videographer truly didn't exist. Like that was never a common thing. If anything, it might have been videographers and photographers that took on these one-shot projects to promote games, but I don't think or at least like I never knew of one that consistently did it and was in the hobby themselves and all of that. So that's just from my point of view when all of this started. And initially I was taking pictures for fun. They were just creative photos where I would put a meeple like from root on top of a log in water. And I would take all of these kind of creative shots because I really enjoyed product photography in that way, where they were themed around a specific story. And then I would go out, I would even go out to like random docks at like 5:36 in the morning where there was like fog and everything, and shoot some shots for Wingspan. And it was never like sponsored content or anything. It was just things that I did passionately for fun. But from there, I wanted to level it up a bit and see, well, how can I potentially sell this work? Because when people started gauging interest, like, oh, can you take pictures for our game? I was like, maybe I can make like a little bit of a side hustle from this hobby, because I was also working in industry too. I was doing 9-to-5s in lab corporate work as a lab tech because I was trying to get into med school, didn't get in for 5 years in a row, and then I pivoted and just worked with a master's in Science Lab America. And then I think I got really interested in doing this a lot more frequently as a videographer because someone asked me to film at the time I called it a cinematic showcase. And it was exactly what it still is now, just actually professional now. And they were commercials. So they were commercials for Kickstarter or GameFound campaign. So alongside the video work that I was doing is also trying to figure out how to level up my product photography as well. Well, we're not going to put that light in the shot right now. But I was also trying to figure out what to do with product photography. And then it came to me, it's like, how do I level this up? Well, one way to do that is if I were to do some lifestyle work, because this is how companies can, this is what I see online, at least for other types of products like bikes or candles or whatever. They want to see it being used by real people. So I was like, oh, you know what? I should try to figure out how to get models here. And then how do I even rent a venue where I can shoot this? That way it looks like we're in a home and we're having fun playing games. And how do I go about doing this? So then that's when I started doing all of this lifestyle photography work. And now, fast forward till today, that is majority of what I do now. So I'm super fortunate for that. And I would say if you were to break down like what I do on a daily basis, aside from these daily vlogs that I've been focusing on a lot lately, is that a majority of my work really comes from lifestyle photography. If I'm not doing daily vlogs, I'm editing pictures practically every single day of lifestyle work for games that are coming up or games that are in mass distribution retail. And if not for photos, then once in a while I also will have like a combo package. So I'll do photos and a commercial, like a lifestyle commercial for them. That way they can advertise it across. Same thing with like retail stores, product launches, Q3, Q4 launches. But those videos and photos can either be alone or together in a combo package. And then that's what I'm working on every single day. Now, I would say that's like a majority, like the bulk of my work from week to week. And then from there, I think my next most commonly booked projects would be product photos, which is like solid background, a bit more technical, even though it is in studio, but those are just like the white background product shots or something with like a gradient or maybe like a classy look like I did for Chip Theory Games. And then after product photos, once in a while I'll say yes to a Kickstarter / GameFound campaign trailer, which I don't say yes to often because they are probably the most amount of work. So those are just absolutely intense, like 4 to 6 week turnaround times, and I'm working every single day on those. So those are a lot for me, but I'll do those once in a while. Like that's when things get really serious and I'm moving my board game table over to that wall and trying to figure out how to make each one different. So you might have seen a bunch of those pop up on Kickstarter campaigns and GameFound campaigns here and there. And then from there, it gets kind of funky because everything else, I would say like the last 20% of my workload are like the very unique projects or projects that aren't as common. It's interesting because publishers don't always come to me for cinematics or lifestyle shots. They usually will come to me with a specific custom project request. So that's what I'm saying. This is like the last 20-30% of my work because they're very specific, and I love taking them on because they're different and it keeps me interested in generating new types of content. So it could be anything from like a gameplay or a custom gameplay or a mix between a gameplay and a preview video. Preview videos I do also pretty common too, or sometimes they want a commercial with a preview, or sometimes they want to film everything on a specific location and have all our models themed around it and do a gameplay outside. So those projects are probably some of the coolest thing with Excalibur. That's one of those. So those projects are usually like pretty big and probably the most exciting ones that I love doing because they're just so different and the scale of it is just massively different from what I'm doing here in studio. I don't really take on any kind of social media short form types of content because I just don't like, that's what I enjoy doing on my own. So I try not to take on small scale projects like that because it takes too much time for the payout for that. And I also, like, sadly, I would love to keep doing weddings, but realistically, it is impractical to keep doing weddings at this rate because I just don't have the bandwidth to keep balancing board games and weddings because weddings just take up so much time. Like you're doing all this planning work, and I have a whole team that day, and I'm doing all these consultations, and then on actual wedding day, it's not to say I don't have fun. I really do love weddings, and that's the only reason I do them. I do them purely for fun. Wedding hangover is a real thing for like 2 days after that day because you're just so socially and mentally drained from working them. And then like the payout for a wedding is like, I think the amount of time I spend editing a wedding too, like 2 to 3 weeks after that day, along with the prep work before, is equivalent to what I would do for a commercial, but it's like a quarter of that rate. So it's very impractical and unsustainable for me to keep doing. But if any wedding inquiries come up without me promoting it, then I'll be open to the idea. I just won't do them as often as I used to. I do have a second YouTube channel, which originally, like, I want to revive that because it originally is all about wedding photography and videography and just talking about the more technical side, talking about cameras and lenses and stuff that, you know, I talk about here once in a while, but there is just dedicated solely to that. Like I'm doing lens reviews and camera reviews and everything. So that's a channel that I really do want to revive. But the thing is, like every single video I make costs money. Music subscriptions, storage. Like here, like daily vlogs don't cost me as much because like they're micro videos compared to everything else. But then on like the wedding side of things, or like the portrait side, that's what I really want to revive down the line. Like that costs a lot. Like I would have to hire a model every single time I'm doing a lens review because then I'm doing a lens review, right? So I want to be able to take it out in the field. I don't want to just talk about a lens in studio and be like, this is what all the technical stuff looks like. Like this is the camera body and all these hardware things. I really don't care about that stuff as much. Like I'll mention it, but the way I review lenses and cameras is that I want to take it out into the field and show you how I'm doing them and show you real examples, because if I was a viewer, that's what I want to see. And eventually I'll revive that channel once I have some disposable income, which is funny because, you know, we're in a field all about disposable income, right? So with that said, hope you all enjoyed that inside look of what I do on a daily / weekly basis. It's pretty random, sporadic, but for the most part, there is some structure to it. And I'm super lucky to be able to, you know, keep this on freelancing for what it is for now. And yeah, thank you for submitting your question. If you have any other questions about daily vlogs, like feel free to put them in the comments whenever, and then I would love to put that hopefully as a future video idea going down the line for daily vlogs. I'm glad you're interested in what I do. I appreciate it a ton. And if you made it to the very, very end, go ahead and comment games, because that's exactly what a majority of my work is, fortunately enough nowadays. I'm so excited and grateful that I get to combine my passions and work all in one. Super lucky for that, and hopefully that gets to continue going forward. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.